Studio, we have Chef Kas. Welcome, Chef Kas.
Hi, good to be here.
Hey, we were talking about nutrition and body fuel, high burning, high efficiency body fuel. I love that concept. So real life experiences, real life use for food. Like I said, I've got a meeting this afternoon with a mayor at 2 o'clock. What should I be eating for lunch to keep myself alert and able to use my brain and not going to sleep during my meeting?
Okay, so first of all, you asked me to make sure I share some information, and I've been on TV like 5 times the last 2 months, and every time I freaking forget to give my information.
Okay.
So Chef Kas, Chefkas, you can Google me, okay? And if you want more information, you're gonna text health, H-E-A-L, H-E-A-L, H-E-A-L-T-H-1 to 760-670-3130. That is not my personal phone number. Okay, 760-670-3130. And that'll get you subscribed for all of our information that we send out. You can also visit KasFitLife, KasFitlife.com, or find me on Facebook.
Cool. Thank you for that.
So in terms of what you were, absolutely, thank you. Can I jump right into what you're asking? Okay, so there's a few things that I want to point out about, like, making food work for you, really, is what it comes down to, right? Like, first you got to really identify how do you want to feel. So the first thing when I meet with anybody, whether it's a private chef client or just somebody I'm going to help do kind of a nutritional audit, right, where I actually look at what they're doing, is the first thing is we have to say, what are your goals? You know, like, what do you want to achieve? And that, for a lot of people, when they start thinking about that, they play small, or they play where they've played before. And by that I mean they say something like, I want to lose 5 pounds. I'm like, okay, but what does that actually have to do with the results that you want? So, like, you want to have really, like, would you say you want to have more energy? Oh yeah, I definitely want to have more energy. Okay, well, why do you want to have more energy? And that's where we start digging deep. And one of my mentors, he says that the follow-through, someone's follow-through, is directly related to their emotional state that you leave them in. Okay, so if you're not getting to an emotional impact, you have no chance of success. And what I mean success is, I mean changing your patterns. And I'm going to get to that in a second, because all of this comes down to patterns. So the first thing is we can't ignore the realities of our life. Okay, and by that I mean, like, we were just talking about menopause, right? Like, so, like, is that, like, just going to go away? Or is your schedule just going to suddenly become less demanding? Or are you suddenly just going to have a private chef? Or are you suddenly going to start, being 30 years old if you're 67, right? So, like, these are just, like, I want to say these are realities that are not going to change immediately, right? So we have to point those things out first. Again, do more of like an audit of what our daily situation looks like. And if you have different schedules on different days, be realistic about that too. Identify that so you can plan around that. We're going to get to that in a second. And then the other thing that's extremely important, and this is like face smacking, no duh kind of thing, obvious, but still needs to say, which is don't think you're going to keep doing what you've been doing and all of a sudden the results are going to be different. So if you're like, I really want to lose 10 pounds, but I'm only going to change 1 meal a week.
Yeah,
like,
I think they call that insanity.
They call it insanity, but, like, it is the most common thing in what I do working with people. You see, we were talking about the emotional patterns and people's behaviors based on emotions. So most decision making has nothing to do with people's goals. It's just they're in the moment. They just got out of traffic, and we just have to look at things from a physiological perspective, right? If you're run down, your body's going to say to you, give me something with glucose. I need a spike. Like, if you look at the triggers and not the patterns, but the unfolding sequences in your body physiologically, like I said, my background's in biology, so I really it's very important for me to understand what actually happens when food goes into our body. So that's why I have the idea of clean and burning fuel, because it's basically giving us the most energy, it's uplifting our state the most without having minimal waste, which is, the waste is what causes us to shut down. The waste is what you feel after you eat a bag of potato chips. The waste is what you feel after your Thanksgiving meal when all you want to do is sit down on the couch and go into food coma, right? So we have to eliminate that waste.
Well, that was one of the things that you talked about at the event, the Green Tie event, is the clean burning fuel. What's clean burning fuel? First off, it's clean burning if you have less waste. And I was like, wow, that makes sense. So you're processing less material and gaining more energy, So maybe you could give us some examples of what some of those foods might be. What's a clean burning fuel and what is not a clean burning fuel?
So, I mean, look, without going into every single food that we could ever eat, you know, anything that causes you a lot of digestive energy or anything that's very low nutrient content. So like potato chips, like what is the nutrient that you're actually getting out of that your body really needs, right? Or candy, you know, it's not just, now look, there's an element to this where we have to acknowledge that there's a psychological importance to food too. Right? It's not about being robotic or being like so strict and I have to eat this one certain way. But more like what are you looking to get out of it? You have to go back to that every single time because otherwise you get into this model of I'm hitting a checklist. No. Root yourself emotionally. If a food doesn't make you feel well, recognize that. And don't have this backlash reaction because it's like I have a dog. When I first got her, if she did something she like chew up my remote control and she got punished, now she has an emotional association. And she does that behavior to get attention. And so we do the same thing with food in our own lives where we have this powerful negative emotion. I shouldn't do that. That was bad. I can't eat that food. Now we're having an emotional reaction that's tied to that eating behavior. And even though it's not an emotional reaction we want to produce, it's still better than nothing, right? So they say like anger is better than sadness because from anger you can actually do something. There's power that comes from that in terms of the emotional spectrum. And it's the same thing. If we have a reaction to food where it's neutral, instead of being, oh, I'm so upset that I ate that. Now, a couple things I want to touch on real quick regarding those realities of life. Because we need to overcome, here's what our schedule looks like, here's what my realities are, here's the things that can't change right now. So the first thing we need to do is have preparation and advanced planning. And when I say that, I don't mean you have to plan out every single meal or you need to prep all your food. Rather, it's look at your schedule and see where do I usually get hungry. I know this is mind-blowing information right now, right? I know it's completely mind-blowing, but I'll give you an example. If you like to work out, and you're like, well, I want to add another workout or two to my regular routine. I'm doing twice a week. I'm doing 3 times a week. I want to do 4 or 5. Look at the class schedule for the gym. Look at the classes you like. Put them on your calendar where they match up. When you have those days and you're like, I'm going right from work to the gym, make sure you pack your bag because you know if you're going to go home, you're going to stop at home and you're not going to leave. It's the same thing with our food. Like I know around 11 o'clock on Monday, I have to go to this lunch thing. I have a meeting and then I have to eat lunch. Where around my area is a good spot for me to eat the types of foods that are going to help me be in the state that I want to be in. So like I said, there's a lot of good options here now. We have like greens and proteins is great. You know, there's a few places around town. And even if it's not a healthy eating restaurant, I don't really like the word healthy eating. That's a whole other concept. But nutritional, right? Nutritional and clean burning fuel is my approach. You know, where can I get the food that's going to serve me? And just planning it out. Like you can probably pass someplace on the 215, right? You said you're going to Henderson. So, you know, there's plenty of options on the way there. And you can even, one of the things I love to do, I will, full disclosure here, this is like one of my life hacks, is I will call anywhere that I'm going to get food from. I do not like to wait in line. I don't like to stand there. Now if I'm waiting on my phone. But if I can have my food ready, I can pick it up. Maybe I eat it in the car. It's not my ideal, but sometimes I have to. I go in there, I pick it up, bam, transaction's done. I have my nutritional food. I don't have to think about it, look at a menu. You know, places like MacDonald's, we studied this in culinary school, put salads on the menu just so people can think about ordering a salad and then say, I'll have that next time. That's why salads are on the menu. They don't have a high profit yield or anything like that from that. It's so that people have a contrast. And so we need these things in our lives too, but we also have to recognize where our glucose levels are run down, where we've been doing a lot of decision making. That's why they have candy bars in the checkout aisles of grocery stores, because your decision making has already been emptied out. So now you're going to get the quickest, easiest, most convenient source of glucose to spike your blood sugar, so you get a rush of endorphins and serotonin instantly, because at that point they know they can take advantage of those things that are very low.
I'm going to go get a candy bar right now during break. And we'll be right back to Shades of Green on KBWN 720 AM.